What's up, YouTube? I'm Coach Bridges with Bridges Performance Training. I'm a strength and performance specialist, and I'm here to help the everyday athlete get better one day, one rep at a time. Today, we are talking about fat loss, how it works, the best diet for you, and how to set up your fat loss program. So in order to understand how to lose fat, we need to first understand how fat loss works. And let's look at the different elements of fat loss and diet in general. So diet is simply what you consume on a daily basis. Don't let the different names of diets out there confuse you as to far as what it is. It's just what you consume on a daily basis for energy. And that leads us to food and calories. Food is just fuel because calories are a measure of a unit of heat or of energy, right? So when we consume food, our body then has to break that down for energy, and that's all calories are for us and to us. So food is just fuel, right? So now we look at how fat loss works, and fat loss works when we are in an energy or caloric deficit, right? So if we take in less calories than we burn, then we're then in a caloric deficit, and that equals fat loss. That's our equation. The calories in portion of that is pretty simple. What I eat, my body then consumes and breaks down for energy. And then now we look at the calories out portion of that equation, and that's a little bit more complex. There are 4 elements to it. And our 4 elements are our resting metabolic rate. This is just what your body needs to maintain basic human function on a daily basis, and to run your organs, your brain, your heart, whatever else you got going on, right? So then we have your NEAT. Your NEAT is your non-exercise activity. Non-exercise activity are things like me sitting here talking to you, moving my hands around, you at your desk typing, fiddling with pens and papers and things like that, and even up to like light walking. Light walking can fall into the non-exercise activity, and this section of, or this component of the calories out equation can actually be modified just slightly as well. Then we have our exercise activity. That's self-explanatory. It's anything that you do from an exercise perspective: brisk walking, a HIIT training workout, long slow distance cardio, resistance training, or athletic performance training. This is all exercise activity, and this can be modified and be able to help boost that equation of the calories out portion. And then we have our thermic effect of food. And what this means is that when our body takes in those calories, it actually needs, or takes in that energy, it actually needs a certain amount of energy to break down that food to be able to utilize it. So this actually is interesting, the fact that when we consume energy, our body needs energy to then break down that energy to use that energy. And it sounds more complicated than it actually is, and that's going to be modifiable as well. And these are the portions of our calorie out equation. And when we have this portion outweighing the calories in equation, we get fat loss, like we said. So now we talk about, of all the diets, what's the best for you? Paleo, keto, vegan, Atkins, what is the Whole30, Mediterranean diet? Which one of these diets is going to be best for you to have fat loss? And the answer to that question is none of these. None of these diets are best for you, because any diet that works for you to have fat loss is simply working because you are in a caloric deficit. If you have tried any of these diets and you have failed, you are not truly in a caloric deficit. Okay? Sorry to hurt your feelings. Sorry to hurt all the people who love those diets and love how they work. Basic science says if you want to lose fat, calories in, calories out. And if a diet works for you, then it's because you're in a caloric deficit. So now, how do you set up your diet to be able to lose fat for the rest of your life? So if you want to set up your fat loss diet and be able to maintain it for life and be able to eat flexibly throughout that, then let's talk about the things that you need to do to understand where you're starting at a baseline. First and foremost, start tracking your calories over the next week to understand how many you're actually taking in. It's been well reported and studied that the vast majority of people actually underreport and underestimate how many calories they consume on a daily basis. So if you're one of those people, then that means that your calories in portion of this equation is actually way higher than what you think it is. Thus, that's the reason why you're not losing fat. So get an idea, track on MyFitnessPal or Spark People. These are 2 apps that you can use, that I use with my clients to track. They have all the foods that you can think of in there. All you have to do is scan it and add it in. It'll calculate your calories and macros for you, so you can get an idea of where you're starting, right? Don't even change what you're eating for the next week or 2 weeks, however long you want to track. Just eat what you're eating and then see how many calories you're actually consuming. Then let's look at how many calories you're burning. How many calories you're burning during exercise. If you want to wear a tracker all day, you can, but how many calories you're definitely burning during exercise on a daily basis, no matter how many days a week you work out. And you can use Apple Watch, the Fitbit on your wrist, the Polar Watch, whatever it is that you have. But I like a heart rate monitor that goes on the chest because it's much more accurate. So if you have one of those like Polar or Garmin, you can go ahead and buy one of those or throw it on when you're working out for the next week or two and see how many calories you're actually burning. Then you want to go ahead and get with a dietitian or one of your local gym that has an option for you to actually get your RMR tested. What you'll do is you'll sit down and you'll breathe into the tube for 10-15 minutes while you're fasted, and it'll actually give you an accurate measurement of how many calories your body needs on a daily basis at rest, right? So now you can take that and factor it into your equation for how many calories do I need? Am I eating more calories than that is? And am I burning more calories? Does that help me get a balance on my calories in, calories out portion of my equation? Am I getting balance with those three things, right? Those are the first three things to do. And you want to do this calorie test fasted, and you want to do it on a day where you have a rest day, and the day before was not a high intensity lifting session or HIIT session, right? Because that'll spike your metabolism through the roof and you actually get a false reading. Fourth tip is, if you are not already on a high protein diet or you eat a very low protein diet, increase your protein. It's been shown in study that we can safely eat up to 2.4 grams of kilogram of lean body mass. So what that means, to make it real simple, is that if I have 150 pounds or 160 pounds of lean body mass, that I can consume up to 175 or 180 grams of protein a day, and even just a little bit more, and still be fine. And that'll actually help increase the thermic effect of food in conjunction with eating more fiber. All right, so your thermic effect of food, remember, is breaking down what our body needs to break down the energy that we actually consume, and having a higher protein, higher fiber diet can actually help this. This is the reason why those diets like the Mediterranean diet and the paleo diet work, because they have higher protein in those diets. Then last but not least, certainly not least, I think it's one of the most important. If you are not already doing it, add resistance training into your exercise program. 2 to 3 days of moderate to high intensity weightlifting or HIIT sessions will help drastically increase your exercise activity calories and to build and maintain that lean muscle, which when we have lean muscle, we actually are a little bit more efficient at burning calories and thus burning fat. So these are the tips to implement into your program with fat loss, is from as far as from the diet and the exercise perspective, making sure that we are truly understanding and truly working towards a caloric deficit to be able to be balanced and get the fat loss that we want. If you want more detail in how to actually set up your macros and how to actually set up how many calories you need once you have this information that I just gave you from those tips, then in the next video we'll talk about exactly how I calculate my clients' macros and set them up for success in tracking those macros and making sure that they're hitting their goals and hitting their fat loss goals for a specific fat loss target. As always, if you like the content, remember to like, share, and subscribe, and leave your questions in the comment section below so I can answer them in future videos. Remember, outwork the you from yesterday and put pressure on the you from tomorrow so you can look back and see how far you come. Get better one day, one rep at a time.